Hello, today I'm going to be carrying out a biological examination of the local river as part of my river keeping task at the fishing club. I do this every year at the same time of year and the same time of day to give good comparable data. It could be done more regularly, but this gives a pretty good overview. This year the water levels have been really high all season, and we now have a little dip in the water levels, so it's still about double what it would ideally be to do this task, but the river levels are going to rise again very soon. The rain's coming back in a few hours, so I'm going to take this chance and try to get it done, and let's go and do it.
So what is a biological river examination, and why do it? I give myself a set time of 30 minutes to collect as many underwater bugs as possible. I'll search in as many different habitats as possible within my selected piece of water. Places such as under rocks, in the vegetation, in the sandy riverbed and the silted bed. The bugs are then all counted and entered into a form which gives me a formula to calculate the water quality in a number ranging from 1 to 4. From my reference book I can see that this river is labelled as subtype 2.2. A small river below the mountains. For this type of water, the natural base water quality is 1.6, and anything below 1.7 is very good. Last year's result was 1.5, and I would expect a fairly similar figure this year. The bugs that live in the river are very sensitive, and any water problems will affect them first, so they're a great indicator of water quality and potential problems. Should an incident of water pollution occur, further examinations can be made to find the exact origin of the pollutant, as the results will change dramatically within a few meters. The data from previous years of examinations will give evidence of how the river was and how it needs to be restored to. This is also a chance to keep an eye out for any invasive species that may cause problems. The great bonus for me, as a fly fisherman, is that I get to have a close look at exactly what the fish are eating. I would encourage any trout or grayling fly fisher to do part of what I'm doing today and get a really good idea of exactly what their fly should be imitating. I like to carry out my annual examination in spring to early summer, as many bugs are then on the move and the water level tends to not be too high or low, though this year the water has been and is still much higher than usual. This is the piece of water that I'll be examining. It has a good variety of structure and habitat, and the wading is fairly easy. I'll use a fine mesh net for collecting the bugs and keep them in a bucket with some river water. Before starting, I need to fill in some data about the conditions. This includes air temperature, water temperature, level and clarity, the weather, date and time. Let's go and see what we find. This location has a mostly rocky riverbed, so the majority of sample collection will be done by lifting stones. This is done by lifting the stone with one hand and following it with the net downstream to catch any bugs that swim away. With the stone out of the water, it can be closely examined for more creatures, which are then collected into the net or straight into the bucket. The net is fully emptied into the bucket before collecting the next sample. A variety of different size stones are examined from various locations. With the larger ones, it can be a bit trickier to follow with the net. Straight after collecting samples, each stone is carefully returned to its original location. As well as from stones, samples are collected from as many different structures and substrates as possible. Here samples are collected from underwater vegetation. This is done by sweeping the net diagonally upstream through the vegetation. sandy and silty riverbeds are sampled by scooping some material and sifting it at the river surface. Logs and other structures are swept along with the net, again working upstream to collect anything that comes off. The reason for using white buckets is the contrast, which makes it easier to see the bugs. Now it's time to start picking out the different species and counting them. I use a small sieve to move a few bugs at a time into a clean bucket with fresh water. Here I can examine each one and note it down before returning the batch to the river. I sometimes also move some of the small batch into a smaller container to have a better look. This container is actually from a children's insect observation kit and has a magnifying lid, which can be a great help to determine the smaller creatures.
This one looks like a stick until you see that it's actually a cased caddis.
And there were more cased caddises in different looking sheaths. If you know what this is, please let me know in the comments. I was unable to find it in my book, so it would seem to have no water quality indication value. As I get to the end of the sample bucket, I drain the rest of the water to pick out any remaining creatures from amongst the other debris.
Well, I've just finished counting up everything that I collected and marking it down on the papers. I've returned everything to the water, but now it's starting to spit with rain, and I think some thunder may be on the way, so I'm going to go back to the car to do the rest of the paperwork, so I'll see you there.
Well, it's pretty humid and that thunder is definitely coming. It's now I'm going to do the calculations. We've got everything noted down here of what we collected. Gets transferred over to this calculation sheet, and now I'm going to do the different calculation factors and transfer it to a final calculator. I've been using this book as a bit of help. This shows, it also has the calculation here, but if I have any problems with the creatures, then there's a bit more detail in there to help me determine what's what. Hopefully we're somewhere close.
So there we go, all calculations done. The rain is falling on the car, the thunder's rumbling overhead, and I am sweating away here in the car. We've got a water quality indication figure of 1.6 compared to last year's 1.5, so last year was a tiny bit better, but it's the same ballpark and it's a really good figure for this water, about the best we could have here. So I'm very happy. We've got plenty of different species, some new ones, and it's really starting to steam up and get quite miserable in here. Yeah, it was a bit trickier this year with the high water, meaning I couldn't access all areas of the riverbed. But yeah, now with this rain coming again, the water's going back up, and that was my small window of opportunity to get this done at this time of year. So there we are. Well, I hope you found this video interesting and informative, and I'll see you in another one. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.